Ready?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wherever the Yarn Takes Me. I am Erin.
I'm Kim.
And we're going to do a little knit and chat, or it's more chat than knit.
Yeah.
A little chatting video about some of our works in progress, some of our finished garments, and it's a little bit late, but we're going to talk a bit about some of the yarns that we got at Rhinebeck 3 months ago now.
Yeah, you know what? It's time, like holiday season. It's so hard to have time to do anything, and also it's dark out.
Yeah.
So we're lucky we get the chance when it's light out today to talk about it.
Yeah, and I think we got so excited at and after the festival that we started projects, and we didn't film anything because we just were full of whimsy. I don't know.
I'm so excited to talk about the yarn that we got.
We got a lot of good stuff, so I think it's still fun to talk about it even though it's late. But yeah, so
should we just start with the Rhinebeck yarn? Yeah, because both of us got this one.
Yes. And don't judge my really jacked up ball. I balled up some of my yarns yesterday. I spent most of the day doing that. And I don't know what happened with my ball winder, but it looks like it's got rings like a planet. Yeah. It's you know, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It serves its purpose.
Hopefully that it's this really cool recycled yarn that we found there. This was 100% the most expensive yarn that I've ever bought, but I love it so much. The
skeins are really big though. It's 300 yards.
But I think that's part of it. Yeah, it's Primrose Yarn Co., which I had never heard of before going to Rhinebeck, and they're a really cool company. I kind of did a little Google of them. And this is the Replay Sport. It's 500 yards in one of these. So it's what's it weigh? No idea. No grams.
Grammage.
Just 500 yards, and it's this really cool pale pink color, and we got a couple other colors too, which are sort of similar, but these are different ones from each other.
I remember when we were at the festival, Kim went to their booth, and there were so many people jammed into the tiniest space.
It was so crowded. I was fighting with my elbows to get to
I was like, I need to walk away from this for a minute. So I wandered around, and I think at one point she messaged me and was like, where are you? And I ended up going all the way, I went through the whole building, went all the way back around, and still found her looking at these yarns. And then she pulled me in. And I was like, I need these too because they're gorgeous.
There were so many beautiful colors.
Yes.
It took me so long to make a decision, but this is the one that I ended up deciding on for my main color. And just look at the blue, and is this even good? Hold on. There we go. If we cover up our faces. But it's got these blue and orange speckles in it. Yeah. I think this one was called Autumn Leaves or something. I totally made that up. It just says the shade is tweed on it.
Yeah,
it's so pretty.
So mine, basically, we decided that we'll do maybe, I think we were looking at the soul.
Yes.
Sweater.
Yes.
Is it sweater?
By.
What's it?
Is that Egg Units? Maybe.
But I think we're both deciding against using it for that. Maybe.
Yeah. That was the original plan.
But this was going to be the main color, and then the pink was going to be the color work pattern.
I love that these are such Erin colors, the kind of rosy brown tones.
Yeah, there's a bit of that purple that's in there. Here. Boop. It's hard to see, but it's not focusing at least. There's purples, and this one is I think I brought it with me just in case. Medium gray peach. So there's a lot of orange and purple, but it's a little bit gray and brown, which I really, really enjoy.
Yeah. So that's
so
these
cool.
ones. Yeah, they're just, I was holding this up to look at the trees at Rhinebeck because it just looked so pretty next to all of the autumn leaf colors. I need to I've only knit with one of my yarns from Rhinebeck so far, which is really a problem and shows I have a yarn stash problem.
Yeah.
Because I really need to knit with this.
You have a lot of yarn.
I really do. I really do.
It's not a bad problem to have. It's just, it's so hard when you see like good yarns, but you can only knit so fast.
Yeah.
So
There is a limit.
there's a limit.
But no, this is so exciting. Do you want to show one of yours?
Yeah. So I shared this one in the past. I balled up more skeins of it. And I'm
gorgeous.
working on the cardigan in this color, so you'll see this in the future. But this is Yellow Dog Farm, and it's a wool and mohair blend in the color saffron, which is really pretty.
Can I feel it?
Yes, because it's very
Just
squishy.
every time I see it, I'm like, it has that nice, like, almost coolness to the touch that I feel like you get with yarn that has more mohair in it. Like I don't know.
I think it's going to be a really great garment to have in layer, especially like, I feel a little bit nervous because they only had a small amount of skeins of this yarn, and I'm making the Maggie cardigan, and I think what I'm going to do is knit the sleeves first, like get to the point where I separate for sleeves, knit the sleeves first to the length I want them, and then knit the body as long as I can, because I don't want to run out of yarn.
That's smart. I'm gonna get into some of that.
I'm like, I don't want to run out of yarn. No, but I feel like it might not be enough for as like I was hoping to make it long, like maybe 3/4 longer sleeves than the pattern.
I forgot the Maggie.
It's like shorter
half sleeve.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll see. I'm gonna try it on as I go and see how long I want the sleeves, and then we'll decide from there. But I love this one.
It's gonna be so
It's so
beautiful.
good. And then do you want to go
Sure, yeah.
alternating?
Yeah, let's do it. The theme of my life recently has been yellow for some reason. I'm like really into, actually, I just remembered not too long ago we made a video where I literally talked about how much I love yellow.
Butter yellow.
So it's not
Yellow's
new.
a color.
It's not a new phenomenon. But I've been buying a lot more yellow, and this was one of the yellows that I bought at Rhinebeck. It's this yellow with this like rainbow tweed in it. Let me see.
Wasn't that? I think that was one of the first ones you got.
I think this was the
There.
second one I got. I think the first one I got was that.
Yeah.
I'll show it in a sec. But yeah, I think this was the second one I picked up. It's by Flora Adora Fibers, and it's naturally dyed. So it came with like instructions for how to take care of like natural plant-based dye yarns, which scares me. But I'm just not going to think about it, and I'm just going to pretend like I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one I had wanted to use as the main color in the body of a colorwork pattern with like black and white as the designs. And I did start knitting that, and then I'm going to talk more about that later, but like my colorwork tension is a problem that I have not figured out how to resolve yet. So I unraveled the whole thing, but eventually I would like to try that again. So that's the plan for this beautiful
It's very
yarn.
beautiful.
Yeah.
We're very into yarns with like little flecks of color in them lately.
They're just very exciting.
The next one that I got, I think this was the first yarn that I bought, is this sage green. I may have forgotten to bring the tag with me. But it's called Forage and Sew, I think is yeah, I didn't bring it with me. So the brand was Forage and Sew, like S-O-W, not S-E-W. And that's really funny. So it's a naturally dyed, I think they're from Pennsylvania, naturally dyed fiber. It wasn't, they didn't spin the yarn, it's just like a natural dye company, but Forage and Sew. And when we went to the festival, I mentioned this to you a few times, but I had this cardigan in mind because there's a maker that I follow on Instagram. It's Soft Paw Vintage, and she one time posted this selfie. She was doing something else, but the cardigan she was wearing was this like really beautiful sagey green, and she was wearing a slightly darker green blouse underneath it with this outfit has been in my mind. So I've been looking for this particular color to make a cardigan that looks like hers. And I found
such a good color, because you really wanted the like this isn't like that washed out kind of green, like it almost has like a warmer tone to it. You were very specific about which color you did.
And we saw a few and you were like, this one, I was like, no, it's a little bit too mint. And then it's like, there was just one in my mind, and it happened to be there, and there happened to be enough skeins of it. So I have a sweater quantity of this, and I haven't started anything with it yet because I don't know what cardigan I want to make. We mentioned the Maggie cardigan,
but this is probably a little bit too heavy of a weight for the Maggie cardigan, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it might be. It might work. But now I'm thinking about, because I did knit up a swatch, and I feel like I kind of want to add like a mohair or like a really thin strand of something else. Maybe not even a mohair, but like a few YouTubers I've been watching have been doing really thin strands of like an alpaca yarn or something like really fingering
something to add like drapiness to it, because it is a pretty structured yarn.
But I think it just needs, it's really beautiful of a color, but I feel like it just needs like a little bit of like something with it. It just feels very plain. But we did also mention doing maybe like a field cardigan or something with like texture work around the yoke. Ooh,
that could be cool as a the waffle loop cardigan.
Yeah,
that could be really cool.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's definitely, I love this yarn. I just am trying to find the right project to make with it. So, but I love it.
Exciting things to come.
Yes.
This was the first yarn that I got, which is, we met this sheep. He was very cute. And then I went over to, like, later on we went to a different part of the fair where the people who had the sheep had his yarn for sale. And so then I got that. This yarn, I think, has a lot of spinning oil in it, and that has been the only thing that's been holding me back from using it, because it feels so like, it leaves this gummy feeling on my fingers. I think I just need to go and wash it. I just like, I don't want to take another step. I need to just do it. I think I need to wash it before I try to knit with it.
It's a beautiful color and texture.
It has this like weird, like almost boucle kind of vibe to it, because it's so like, I don't know, I've just never seen another yarn that looked like this, but it's just a farm yarn.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it could make a really cool project of some kind. Like probably something like heavier weight, like a layering piece, like a jacket or a vest or something. But yeah, that was the first one that I picked up. I don't have a lot more to say about it besides that, actually. And did you have any other ones?
I do just have, and this this could kind of like tie into my like works in progress. But this was so in the last video I shared, or the last few videos I shared, that I am working on this sweater for my partner with a yarn that I got at Rhinebeck. And I started this sweater just after the festival, and I'm still working on it. Because
fingering weight sweaters. But it's coming up really, so good. Yeah. It looks so beautiful.
I'm happy with it now. I think previously I mentioned that I was like nervous because the yarn had some really thin spots, and it was just like making me nervous that it wasn't going to hold up. But I'm feeling much better now that it's like becoming a full, more of a full garment. But this is like a really rustic, like gray brown. I
love those gray browns.
Yeah,
it's so nice.
It's really, really nice. It is a little bit rough and scratchy, but he's someone that will never have it touch his skin because he layers clothing underneath it. So yeah, and I talked about that one before, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But if you want to share your last one, then
and I actually have one other one too, but I actually have used all of that one up. So we'll call the second to last one then, I guess. This is another like naturally dyed yellow yarn. It's Garthenor Organic Forage. And these skeins are so tiny, and I found this right at the end of the festival, and I really didn't have any money left at that point. But it's like this butter yellow color with like gray mixed in. It almost looks to me like one of the plies is like a really pale gray ply, and then the other 2 plies are, wait, is it 2 ply or 3 ply? It does not say, but yeah, it almost has that kind of like 2 colors like wound together vibe to it. And I got just enough of this that I think I can make a vest out of it.
It's so gorgeous. I remember this
so
being
soft.
the last place we went to, and I mean, I was really eyeing up some of them, but I spent
like I wish I'd found this
whole savings
stand earlier.
Yeah, but they were really like really unique colors, and like Kim said, the way this is like a few colors stranded together, it's just really cool.
And it's so soft. But I will say that when I bought it, I thought it was gonna be like a DK weight. And when I knit it up, it definitely knit up at like a fingering weight, which makes me wonder, like this might be something that I need to use with another color for a color work project, because I just don't know if I have enough of it. It has 135 meters per 50 grams. And I think I only got like maybe 6 of them. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to get out of this, but every time I look at it, it makes me happy.
Yeah,
so that's
what
at least
that's what
half
it's all about.
Half of the joy of the project. So yeah, that's that. And I had one other one that's a beautiful burgundy color, which should I check it out?
We'll go right into projects, because I think that's
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love Green Mountain Spinneries. I've been to their actual mill before, and it is fantastic. So I had to visit their stand at Rhinebeck, and I got this beautiful, like, if you had been looking for that green yarn, my quest was for the perfect, like, deep burgundy yarn, and I found that.
And it was so funny, both of us were just like we'd each see the color the other person was looking for, and we'd be like, what about this one? And it's like, no, it's not quite right. Like, both of us were doing that. And I'd be like, what about this burgundy? And it's like, no, it needs to be a little bit more red, or a little bit more like purpley. Like, it's so, when you have a picture in your mind.
I was really specific.
Yeah, and we found them. Like, we managed to find.
Yeah, like, because I didn't
wanted.
So many of them are like, so many burgundy yarns are purple leaning.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about me, but pretty much the only color that is fully absent from my wardrobe is purple. I just don't do purple, and I don't know why. I just don't. So I really wanted it to lean more in that like brown burgundy red direction, but I also didn't want it to be brick colored.
Yep.
So it was very specific, and this was the perfect yarn. This is all that I have left of it at the moment. This is the Lana yarn by Green Mountain Spinnery in the color Ancho. And I held it double for this because I did buy a fingering weight sweater quantity, but then I decided to make the key sweater with it by Petite Knit. And this is how far I got before I ran out of room, or ran out of yarn for the rest of the sleeve.
This is why I glanced over when I said I don't want to run out.
Because it's been every project that I will show you. Okay, 2 of the projects that I'll show you today, both of them I ran out of yarn. And it's ridiculous because I have so much yarn, and yet consistently I choose projects right now that I don't have enough yarn for, and then I'm like, what? When I actually run out?
It's ironic too, because she's someone who has mentioned many times saying, I always panic that I won't have enough, so I overbuy yarn all the time. And you've been saying like that you've been working on not doing that, but in not buying too much, you now have not bought enough.
I think part of the problem,
it's the project too.
Yeah, and part of the problem is that like I used to always buy a sweater quantity of every yarn, and so no matter, and because I'm me, I would buy more than a sweater quantity of that yarn. But I've been really into color work sweaters recently, which is actually why I chose to wear this one today, because I was like, I need to represent color work in my outfit. But so I keep on buying like less than sweater quantities of yarn now because I'm like, oh, I'll use it in a color work project.
You're like, I'll get something else to make up for the rest that I need.
Yeah, and then I have this happen where I really did think that I had enough. Like, according to the project, I had enough yardage, but I mean, I went really rogue with the yarn choices here. This is a really, with that fingering weight yarn held double, it's really, really dense. So I think it just used up more yarn than the project expected to. I think the project was designed to be a little bit airier because it has like a mohair with it in the original one. So that's all good. I think I just need one more skein, and it said it was sold out on the website, but I called them yesterday. I was like, hey, is it actually sold out? Because they're a really small company, so I wasn't like surprised if they hadn't updated their website. So I gave them a call, and they did have it in stock, and they're sending me a skein, and I'm so happy because I really want to wear this. The other color, oh sorry.
I was just gonna say that I think like with companies like that too, they're probably not gonna have, like, if they have a skein of it or maybe 2 skeins of it, it's probably more difficult to sell it on your website because people are looking for larger quantities of yarn, not just one single skein. So I think it's like, if you're ever in that position, it can't hurt to call, because I'm sure that there's something, like some way to get a skein.
I figured, So, and it turned out that was correct. So, shout out to whoever it was I spoke to on the phone who's sending this to me. I'm so happy. But yeah, so I used the Lana yarn for the burgundy, and then this yarn here, it's definitely not the same gauge, but I think it worked out okay for these little stripes. This is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in wheat. I bought a whole sweater quantity of wheat like maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, and it was way too close to my skin tone. Like, it's on the website, I find that Knitting for Olive colors consistently look a little bit warmer toned than they end up being when I get them in. And so when this one came in, it was just a little bit too flesh toned.
Also, this is Minnie.
Oh yeah, can
Minnie's
you see?
Little nose is in there.
There's just one little cat nose right here. But yeah, so I've had that yarn for ages and I didn't know how to use it. But I think because, like, by my face is gonna be the burgundy color, this reads much less like skin.
No, I think they work really well together too. It's like a really nice color combination.
Which, for the record, I decided to start doing this before Petite Knit started making her cardigan version in this exact color palette. This consistently happens to me. Like, I start making a project in a color, and then Petite Knit starts doing it, and I'm like, I started it. No, I'm joking. Just me and Petite Knit are on the same wavelength, and that's all I ever wanted anyway. So,
this is really nice.
Isn't it really great? Like, I feel like it's a really sturdy, like I could go hiking in this sweater and it would be fine.
This is one I feel like is gonna last you a really long time. It's very like,
And I'm so glad that I'm gonna get enough yarn to finish it up. So that burgundy was the last of my Rhinebeck yarns and the first one that I'm knitting with.
And then back to this project with the Rhinebeck yarn. I finished the body and I finished the sleeve just a few days ago. And Kim and I talked about this outside of videos because we both just made, or she made a sweater for our partners, and we never realized how long men are. Like, it's so silly, but like, and maybe it's just because when we're making projects for ourselves, generally they're like slightly cropped in some way because
it's like slightly fit preference.
I find that like a lot of women's like pant lines are higher, and we're wearing a lot of high-waisted garments these days. So
and
like,
that in addition to, like, I think both of our partners are taller than us,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. But like,
that's a long sleeve.
Yes,
it's a very long sleeve.
And it when I finished it, I was like, this feels like a joke. It's like comically long. But when he wears it, it like lands perfectly, like about there, maybe a little bit closer actually. But, and I think too, when it's just knit, and once it's stretched and worn, it pulls up in different places. So I think it's gonna work out fine. It's just taken me, I mean, I feel like this sleeve is like 10 hours of work. It takes
I
so
think
long.
This is the first fingering weight project that you have made, right? And you decided to make it for your partner.
Yeah. And I'm like, is this body long enough yet? And he tries it on and he's like, no, not long enough. It's like too short. I'm like, darn. Can it be long enough already? But I think it's just tough too. And we were just saying that like, it's really hard to knit when you work. Like we both work full time, and it's been a really busy work time for us during the holidays. So I think I'm just not very quick, and that's okay. It's just what it is.
You made really good progress on it.
Yeah. And I just love this sweater, and I keep telling him if it's not good enough, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to wear it because it's
gonna be loved no matter what.
Yeah, but I'm happy with it. It's going well.
Yay!
One more sleeve to go.
So close. Do you mind if I get out my most recent fail? I actually do need to unravel it, but I want to show it because in theory it was going to be so good. But I'm so sad about it. So there's this pattern by Aegyo Knits again. What's it called? The sand sweater or san sweater. It's this
I've
one.
been seeing a lot of people knitting this lately.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Really pretty.
It's this geometric yoke, which I like a geometric yoke, but I don't know how to explain what I like in color work, but I like that this geometric pattern feels very traditional, but not like, some of the colorwork yokes are like really, really tiny, like zigzags like that. And I just like that this one's a little bit bigger. And it still manages to feel somewhat organic while being geometric. I don't know. But I've been wanting to make that literally since she started posting pictures of it. And I wanted to make it using Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which if you've looked at the pattern at all, you might be able to tell that there's no way to use Brooklyn Tweed Shelter to get the right gauge for that project. So I actually did knit the whole yoke, but look how tiny it is.
It doesn't look that bad.
It's really small.
It's really small. But
there's no.
First of all,
this is the 4th size. I sized up like 2 sizes, and it still is this small.
I just have to say these colors are incredible.
See, that's why I'm so
my
sad.
gosh.
I've like slowly accumulated for months now all the colors I wanted to use to make this, and it has a 15 stitch gauge, and it's just not gonna get there.
Yeah, I guess it is. I felt like in my mind, I don't know what I was thinking when I said it doesn't look that bad.
It's really
like
small. Like, this is like
a
child's sweater.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give this to a child because I want it too much.
Maybe in my brain I was like thinking that this will block, when it blocks it'll stretch out a bit.
And I think it will a little bit, but I don't think the yoke depth is even enough if I stretched it wide enough for it to like...
Oh man.
Isn't that sad?
That's a bummer.
Because it looks so beautiful. Besides my colorwork tension, which is like a hot mess, but what else is new? If I blocked it
together.
I know, right? Like,
oh man,
I love these colors, and
it's so cool.
And if I blocked it, I think that the lovely thing about Brooklyn Tweed Shelter is that it really like puffs up and fills in the gaps. So I think that even though my color work tension is so wonky, I think it would smooth out and look really, really nice.
Yeah.
I'm tempted actually to block it just to see what it would look like, but I think that'll just make me sad.
Yeah.
So I think I want to still use these colors. I think I need to let this particular project go and just know that this is not the right yarn for it. And I need to find a different color work yoke that has more like an 18 to 20 stitch gauge instead of a 15 stitch gauge. But isn't it pretty?
It is very pretty.
Oh, and I forgot. It's
you just keep it as a neck warmer or something. Just fit it over your head and use it like a kind of like a hat. Use it to wipe your tears.
Yeah, just like. But I forgot. This is mostly Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, but the pink color is from something Bay, North Bay Fibers, which was not actually at Rhinebeck. I found out about them because I was watching someone else's YouTube video about Rhinebeck, and apparently the day before Rhinebeck started, they have like all of these little like mini festivals that happen before it, and apparently North Bay Fibers was there. So that's how I found out about them, and I went and looked at their website, and they had this bubblegum pink color, which
last year was the year of yellow for Kim, and this year is going to be the bubblegum pink era.
It might not be this year. It might be this spring, because I do notice that consistently every spring, all of a sudden I'm like, do I need bubblegum pink?
Pink season.
Yeah. So, but I really wanted a pink. I wanted some bubblegum pink in my wardrobe. I have a hard time wearing it because my skin tone leans really, really pink. So this is another one like the other project I just showed that, because it was supposed to have white at the top, I think the pink would work really well in it and not be like right next to my face.
Breaks it up a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that the addition of that, is it the meteorite color? The Brooklyn tweed, like the darker brown, really, like, I don't know, it just is really nice together. I feel like when I think of doing a color work project, I feel like I have a harder time with like choosing colors that all go together, and I haven't like truly done it because everything I lean toward is like brown and gray and white, and so I feel like they all just always go together, and I would love to be able to add some really bright fun colors, like even the Celeste sweater. Like I see so many people knitting them in like fun colors, like these blues they're never something I would gravitate toward, and I see people choosing these like really interesting colors that I would never think of, but they just look so beautiful together. And this is one of those instances that like, I don't know, I just really appreciate everyone's ability to choose just like fun, interesting colors.
I feel like we just need to pick like a pop of color for you.
Yeah.
Because I think my experience so far with color work is that when I've been trying, because I tend to try to plan out the colors ahead of time. You know, I say that, but actually with the one that I'm wearing, the Celeste sweater, this was like a scrappy project, and I'm pretty sure I just had all of the colors in a pile, and then I just kind of did them when I felt like. But in general, I've been trying to like plan them out ahead of time. And something I noticed is that like when I was trying to come up with a plan for this one, my theme for it was, sorry, there's a cat that's about to smack my yard.
She's trying to catch this in her mouth.
But my theme for it was pink. Like pink, the bubblegum pink was what I wanted to be the main like color. Yeah. But if you look at this, like the whole body of it was going to be white. There wasn't actually that much pink in it. And I feel like with color work, you almost need to have more of the neutrals in it, because if you did the whole thing in the brighter color and then had the details be neutrals, it almost can be overpowering. Like I'm sure it would be great for somebody. It's just like for my personal aesthetic, it feels like too much. It's like distracting from the color work designs. So you almost need to like kind of choose a couple little spots in the color work for that color to be highlighted without it like being the whole thing, and it will still read as being very focused around that color. And
I think, is it Stitch Fiddle? Is that the
yes.
name of it?
Oh, Stitch Fiddle's great.
Kim told me about Stitch Fiddle, and using that as like a tool to help you figure out color work, because you can put in different just like squares, like make your own chart, or I'm pretty sure you can upload a chart from a pattern you're already doing. Is that right?
There's a way that you can like upload a picture and then it will make a chart out of that picture, but I don't know if there's,
because I think on there you can look up specific yarns to choose the exact color that you're using. I mean, I think we are only using the free version, so you're a little bit more limited.
I also definitely haven't done that much with it yet. I only found out about it somewhat recently, so I'm sure there's features on it that I have no idea about.
But I think that's something that maybe would help me, is like creating a mock chart with the colors that I would be interested in using and seeing how they all go together. I think I would like to, at some point in my knitting future, get like a grid notebook so I could like use color pencils, like color, I don't know. I'm all about journaling in some form, So if there's a reason to get a notebook, I will take it. But I think it'd be fun just to like color some different patterns or like
I like that
come
tactile.
up with something.
Yeah. Sorry, random thought, but should I just do another Celeste sweater? I think the gauge would work just with these colors instead.
I think that would be very nice.
Maybe. The thing is that I really, while I do love this Celeste sweater a lot, this is like one of those designs that's like a lot of little stripes. And I just really wanted it to be more like graphic.
Geometric
and... If anybody knows of a sweater pattern that I should look at that would work for like an 18 to 20 stitch gauge, let me know.
Oh well, we'll find something.
I'll find something eventually. There's always more people making cool colorwork designs.
Doing that like the loom pullover or sweater.
Do you know what's the only reason why I don't do that one is because it doesn't have short rows. And I don't want to have to figure out short rows myself. Even though I know it's not actually that hard, I just don't want to do it. But it is beautiful. It's such a pretty one.
I think like I could see like the flowers in that pink and then the like, little leaf design in the darker colors.
I could also
We'll find something for you.
Yeah, eventually.
I don't think I've made much progress on this, but maybe in a different light it'll be nice just to see it, because I feel like in the last video I lost a lot of light. I was just kind of working in the dark and it looked much different. But this is my Maggie cardigan so far.
Look at that color.
It's on, since it's on such like small, like a small circular needle, it's very bunched up. But yeah, this color,
it's so drapey.
It's so nice.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So this is the back. So it'll be like.
And I just really love like the stripey top you're wearing with this. Would look so good once it's something finished.
I'm so excited about it. I love it. This is like the brightest color I think I'll have in my wardrobe.
Yeah, and if you have any left over at the end, you could always use that for some little pops of color and color work. Yeah,
we'll see. But I'm very, very excited.
It's coming out so good.
It's so nice, and it's so soft, and I'm excited to wear it.
What are your thoughts on, because that's the first time that you've done like a contiguous structure, right, for the shoulders?
Yes. It felt weird to me. I was like, wait a second, is this right? The Levante wrap doesn't have the same.
I don't think so.
I feel like maybe the Levante wrap was like maybe the third sweater I ever made, and I feel like I don't remember it at all. I sometimes look at it and I'm like, how did I do? Like, I don't remember knitting that. When I did like the double knit like band along the edges and the bottom, I just feel like I think I blacked out. Like it just happened, and now I'm like, I don't know if I could ever do that again.
I mean, you were doing that while we were sitting on your porch knitting. I remember that, so I can verify that.
Yeah, like I remember knitting the body, but it's just like, and I remember because you lent me doing that double knit edge. I needed a different needle size on either end, and you lent me your needles because I only use like, is it just like, is there a name, like
just regular like circular needles instead of interchangeable ones? Yeah.
So fixed
circular needles? Yeah, I think
that sounds right. Sounds better.
I don't know if that's right, but it feels right.
So like continuous, I'm still new to a lot of different constructions, so like I'm still learning about them. But continuous construction is just like, can you explain that a little bit?
It's like, it ends up looking like a set-in sleeve.
Yeah.
And
it's like this edge, if you can see.
It's really creative. So I don't know who came up with it.
And then this like edge that looks, because I'm doing increases along this line, it kind of does a thing that looks like raglan, but without the two stitches, for example. It's just like the two stitches go along the shoulder, and then the sleeve has this increase that kind of does a similar.
It looks like a set-in sleeve, but you knit it all as one piece, the same way that you would a raglan.
It's so hard to show it. Let's see. Maybe this is
my head back here.
Yeah. So this is the top of the shoulder, and this is the, right here is one side of the sleeve and here is the other. So So that's what she means where it looks like it's set in.
Yeah, it's such a cool construction. I made the Maggie vest recently, and I was really excited because I love doing contiguous construction, and I was like, I'm gonna do some contiguous construction on this. This is gonna be so fun. It's a vest though, which I didn't think about. So like, you can't do contiguous construction with a vest.
You're not doing sleeves.
So then I had the nerve to be really mad about it when I realized.
Oh, that's really funny.
But still, that was a great project too. But
yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. It's pretty easy. The thing that I don't, it's not a big deal, and it's something I could easily fix by just adding another stitch marker. But when you're doing the increases, so there's one stitch marker on either end of where like the sleeve is, and like when you're knitting, you have to knit to 3 before, kind of like you're doing a raglan, and then do like an increase, then knit to the stitch marker and do an increase after that. And I wish, like, sometimes my brain is just not counting the stitches. Just
throw an extra stitch marker on there. That's what I do. I hate when patterns don't have that extra stitch marker in there.
I just need to add another stitch marker and it would solve all my problems, because it just requires you to think a little bit more as you're knitting, and that's, who wants to do that?
I want to turn my brain off. Sometimes I want to.
Thinking is hard, but so yeah. But that's the only thing, and it's not like a problem with the pattern. It's just like a me problem. So I'll fix that. But I like it.
It's looking so good.
I feel like I haven't made a sweater yet that I'm like, I hate this. Like, I hate this construction, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, you seem to have gotten a lot of use out of pretty much all your sweaters.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the wrap sweater is like a little bit more of a challenge to style, because I have one of those and I also struggle with that a little bit. But besides that, I feel like
mine, I feel like it's the color. The color doesn't, like, it is hard to wear with things. Like, I have a hard time layering it with certain things. And because I think I, similarly to all of my other projects, got very excited and knitted a little bit shorter than I normally would have. So like, for example, like my pant line, like when I try to layer it, it's like an inch above. So like whatever I'm wearing underneath shows.
It worked really well with dresses.
Yeah,
but like this time of year,
yeah,
it's too cold out to wear dresses a lot of the time.
So I think that's just something.
I live and learn.
Yeah.
I do have one more project to show, which is the, I foreshadowed it earlier, the waffle loop cardigan. This is another project that I ran out of yarn for, and I fully, with this one, I don't even have an excuse, because I fully knew I didn't have enough yarn, and yeah, I did it anyway.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me I don't think I have enough yarn.
Yeah, no, when I bought this yarn, I bought it to make a striped sweater, so I only bought enough to make half a sweater. And I don't know why I've been doing the things I've been doing, but I've been just ordering a little more of it at a time. This is how it's coming out so far.
It's so beautiful.
Excuse how like scrunched up the button band is though, because it will stretch when I block it.
Something.
So like this is it, but like see how scrunched up the front is? It will be better.
Make this.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for demonstrating. I appreciate it.
I love this. It looks so cozy.
I love it, and it's so heavy, like a weighted blanket, and I really love that. I knit it at a denser gauge than I knit my waffle loop sweater, because that one I used like a fingering weight and a mohair, and it was super airy. This one's like real dense, and I think that's another reason why I'm running out of yarn on it. But I just like, it's cold. I really wanted like a chunky jacket type sweater. This is, let's see if you can see it. I've been referring to it as my funfetti sweater, because it's very, it's like a creamy
like it's
white.
Covered in rainbow sprinkles.
Yes, with little sprinkles of color in it. It's the Tutti Frutti natural colorway of Pure Gint from Sandnes Garn, and the natural color mohair from Sandnes Garn. And so I've started one of the sleeves. I have the body fully finished.
It's very good.
And I have, let me see, I think I only have, I have 2 balls of yarn left. And that's the second time I ordered it. Sorry for shaking I have a drawer under here. I'm gonna have to buy more yarn again.
Yeah.
And then Erin's been helping me unravel an old project that used the same color mohair. So I'm extracting the mohair from that to put into this, but I think I'm gonna need to get more of that Pure Gint yarn for it. You know, we just take it slow, and sometimes a slow project is not a bad thing, but I just want to wear this one.
It looks so cozy.
And it's been a long time since I finished a project. Like,
You just finished the sweater for...
Oh, for Ian, that's true. I didn't bring that to show, but I made, you know what? Can I go get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll be back in 1 second, because I am really proud of that one. Away. We've just come up with a conclusion for what yarn to get to go with your green yarn.
We were just talking about, she mentioned doing the waffle cardigan with this, and I was like, well, is the gauge going to be okay? And she said that it's held with a fingering weight and a mohair. And I just said, like, I want to find that, like, alpaca, like something, like a thin alpaca instead of using a mohair, because I've been having, like, issues with mohair. When I did the Jeju sweater, it was making me very itchy.
Yeah.
Like, the mohair would, like, get in my eyes, and, like, I think I just need a no mohair moment. But we were just looking, she mentioned that Isager has
No one really knows.
We'll find out someday. They have a alpaca, is it alpaca 3? You said?
Alpaca 1.
Alpaca 1.
Yeah.
In the color Time, and we were scrolling. I said, "Show me a green," and it came up the exact same.
It's like the
shade
perfect shade. And sage and thyme. It'll be like
Sage
your
and thyme.
spices.
My herb sweater.
Herb sweater. Love that.
Well, stay tuned. That'll happen.
Did you have any other projects you want to show before I show the Ian sweater?
Nothing of note. I just cast on. Have an idea of doing like a vest situation with like a dark gray maybe to here, and then like color block with like a darker, like top is like a charcoal gray, bottom is like nearly black gray, and then doing maybe the hem in like a yellow color.
That looks
but
so
I
nice.
only just cast it on, so I'll share that in the future when there's a little bit more to show. But it's just like,
Wait, you just cast it on? I didn't realize you cast it on already.
well, I did like the first week of the new year. I might have mentioned it or showed it in the other video, but it's not like,
Is it just like that little
it's just a
strip
tiny,
along
it's
the
like
top?
a few stitches, and it's not, I'll show it later.
Okay. Whale. This is the sweater that I made for Ian. Wait, hold on. It's all folded. He's been wearing it, which is good. I'm very excited he's been wearing it. But he rolls the sleeves up for it because he is a barista, and
We work together. That's how Kim and I met.
yeah. But yeah, he needs to roll up the sleeves so that they don't get full of coffee. So this is Ian's sweater. And this one was fun because you may recognize this stitch pattern is from is it the Thelma sweater?
I think so.
Or Velma? That's Scooby-Doo. I think it's Thelma. I think it's the Thelma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear. She has this beautiful stitch pattern that I love, and I made one of those sweaters for myself. The stitch pattern is like so easy. It's basically a stripe, but it's like just a little bit different, and it makes it fun. But then I used that on the Northland sweater by Petite Knit. So the Northland sweater is designed for a guy, so it had like a correct yoke depth. Like I didn't want to make my first sweater ever for someone else and try to like improv it or like alter a sweater that I've used before or something to make it fit Ian. So I used that one, and this one also uses a contiguous construction method, which I love. And that makes it like a little bit more fitted, which is nice, because that's what he wanted. And then I just added in the stitch pattern from the Thelma sweater, except for I do not remember what the distance between the stripes are in that sweater, but this one I did 13 rows between stripes. And it turned out so good. I used Brooklyn Tweed Shelter for it. The only thing is I wish that I had gone down one more needle size for the ribbing, because you can't really tell. It just like flares out a little bit at the end. So I think that's just something that I'm noticing about Brooklyn Tweed Shelter specifically, is that I need to go down 3 sizes for the ribbing instead of 2 like you usually do. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about this too.
She had the same issue though with men having longer bodies.
Yes, I had to reknit the bottom, and it was it was really annoying, but it's fine. I did it. It's good. Glad I did it. Oh, I remember what it was. One thing that I didn't think about with making this sweater is that like sweater patterns, even in petite knit men's sweater patterns, they use the bust measurement as like the measurement that you use to choose the size. And so that's what I did for Ian, not thinking about the fact that like on a woman's sweater it makes sense to do that, because that's kind of, in a lot of cases, not always, but that is often the widest part of the body. Whereas I feel like you want to make your size choice based on the widest part of the body for whoever it is that you're making the sweater for. And for a guy, it might not be the bust measurement. I mean, I guess it might, but like, I don't think it was for Ian. So I kind of wish that I had made this a size bigger than I did. I ended up blocking it wider, and so it worked out in the end. But that is why I had to knit it longer, because I like stretched it sideways so much that it got shorter. So that was the only like, I feel like that was like the biggest learn from this, was just like, oh, maybe for if I'm making something for Ian, don't use his bust measurement to choose the size. Did you run into that at all with yours, or?
Not really. Well, so I had to go up a few sizes because the gauge yarn I'm using is thinner than what's called for at the pattern. So I think I'm up 2 sizes already, and I felt like I was making a size that was like, it's actually not oversized. It fits in like pretty well, especially with layering, but it is not like fitted necessarily. It's like maybe more oversized, and I feel like I'm kind of having to do more measuring as I go rather than just like with the sleeves, for example. I am following the decreases on the sleeve for the smallest size.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like this way the sleeve, because it's a decrease every 12 stitches.
Okay.
Whereas the larger size is like a decrease every 9 inches. So I think the sleeve would have been much more like tight fitted had I followed it the way it told me to. So
your gauge is different. So
yeah. So I feel like with mine, at least, I'm having to do more measuring as I go rather than just like trusting. No, trust anybody. No, just trusting the pattern. I think, and this is both the first time we've made for other adults, like, and you've made a few baby sweaters.
That's true,
but like, this is the first time I've made anything for anybody else, like at all. And it's difficult because for me, I can just be like knitting along and I'm like, oh, I need to know the measurement for this. And I can just measure on myself.
Yeah.
But like, I'm making it for John, and I have to either have him try it on or like have him there to measure it, or have one of his sweaters that I know he likes to use as a reference. And it just makes it more challenging.
Yeah.
But
I mean, lots of respect to people. Like, there are so many people out there who love to gift knit. And this is the first, I mean, I've made baby sweaters before, but those are like, the fit is not important on those. It just has to be big enough for the baby, and that's about it. But this is the first,
even bigger than the baby so they can grow into it.
Yeah, exactly. So like, size is just not that important.
If it's too big, that's not a problem. Too small is usually an issue, but too big is not as big of an issue.
Whereas for this one, it's just like, I had to be so careful about fit. I mean, even when I'm making stuff for myself, when in doubt, I just make a gigantic sweater, because I would rather a sweater be like big and cozy than have it be too small. And I like a big cozy sweater. So I just always like err on the side of larger for myself. Whereas this one, like, it needed to be within such a specific range for Ian, because if it's too oversized, it would look silly on him. And like, he just wanted more fitted style, but he didn't want it too fitted.
Yeah.
So I actually had to pay attention to my gauge in
it's
a way.
tough when you're making
Yeah.
for someone who's very particular.
Yeah, and it's just like, I think guy sweaters in general, there's like just, or I should say guys clothes in general have such a narrower range of like what fit they like, maybe. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. Learned a lot. Don't know that I'm gonna knit another sweater for anyone else anytime soon. I have not been converted into a gift knitter, but
I like
it was still
want
nice
to be a gift knitter, but it's just like the amount of time it takes me to make something never makes it like feasible for me.
Yeah,
But that's okay. Like I wanted to have John's sweater done for Christmas, so
hey, do your
that's
best. That's all you can do.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it's
it's
okay.
not that, like, you have one sleeve left to do. I feel like you knit that last sleeve in what, maybe like 2 weeks?
That's because I did nothing but knit that sleeve.
Okay. That's
was-
fair.
I was really giving it my all, and I was taking it everywhere with me. Because I think it's nice too, like, because you're only doing the sleeves, so you're doing like, it goes faster in general. Because I think I did the amount of stitches along, there's like 342 stitches for the body.
That is so
And,
many
like,
stitches.
I was like, at one point I think I was like, I was here, we were watching a movie, and I was like, I only did 4 rows. And then I was like, wait a second. That's like 1,200 stitches that I knit. Like, that's crazy. That's a lot. So,
Yeah.
I would love to do the math to see how many total stitches
Oh
I've
my
done in
gosh.
this entire sweater. But I
That would be a
also
lot.
feel like it'll be it'll be the biggest number, and but it'd be fun.
If you ever do that math, let me know. I'm curious.
probably
I'm not
won't,
going to
but-
do that math, but
I was tracking my hours making this for a while, and then at some point I didn't, and now I have no idea,
yeah.
but we'll see. Some other time. I want to see how long it takes me to make a sweater in hours.
Yeah.
Because I could be like,
Maybe next time you make a U sweater.
probably 10 days, or like probably, like, I've been knitting this for 3 months, but
Yeah.
that's not an accurate representation of how
It's
long
like how many hours
it took me.
Maybe when you get you just ordered Brooklyn Tweed Shelter yarn.
I did.
I'm so excited for you.
Me too.
I
yeah.
love that yarn.
It was supposed to be in yesterday. I was hoping to have it so I could show you today, but
Is it going to be in today?
no, I don't think so.
What?
It just took a long time to get here, but that's okay.
Oh,
Postal
well.
workers are doing their very best.
Yeah. No shade to them.
Yeah.
But you got like the truffle hunt, like brown
I
color,
did,
right?
yes.
So maybe you can time how long that one takes
Yeah.
you. And I feel like Brooklyn Tweed Shelter knits up at like a really nice weight that's not too chunky and not too like fine, to just be like a good average time on a sweater, kind of.
Because everything else I'm doing is like a fingering weight
Yeah.
or sport weight. So
I went through that phase earlier this year, like during the summer. I did a lot of fingering weight stuff, and it's a real labor of love. It makes beautiful things though. It's
Yeah.
gonna be good. But
Yeah.
I'm enjoying, now that it's colder out, making some chunkier things.
absolutely.
It's a nice break.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got.
I think that's about it.
We're probably going to spend the rest of our day unraveling some sweaters.
Yeah.
So
Erin's
We'll
been
add a
helping
little-
me reclaim some yarn from some older projects.
yeah, frogging a sweater with multiple strands, especially of mohair, you need multiple people because it's such a challenge.
Yes.
So
I appreciate Erin's help with it so much. I would not, like, I would literally just have to throw the sweater away. Like, if it was just me unraveling it, I would not be able to do that.
yeah, I don't mind it. It's like little meditative things like that
Mhm.
are fun.
Definitely.
And
That's why
then
we like
it
knitting.
saves yarn. Like you don't have to throw it away.
And I don't think I mentioned this, but part of the reason why I don't have enough yarn for anything that I keep making right now is because me and Ian started saving up for a down payment for a house, which is really good, and I'm so excited about it. But I have to stop spending so much money on yarn because I want a house.
Plus, you've got a lot in your stash, as you just showed me a while ago.
So I need to work
So you-
with what I have. I need to be disciplined. And Erin's helping me do that by helping me unravel old projects.
It feels like Christmas. You're like, suddenly you have more yarn
Yeah.
because
From like a sweater that I wasn't wearing because
Yeah.
something about it didn't work out right. Might as well use it for something else.
absolutely.
And that's the best thing. Like, I love that about knitting as opposed to sewing.
Mhm.
Not to I swear every single time we make one of these videos, I go on a like anti-sewing rant. So sorry. But when you sew stuff, you cut it out and then it's done. Like you can't do anything else.
It's much easier to reuse materials.
Yeah, when I mess up, it's not the end of the world, and I love that.
Yes.
So,
well, thanks for watching through this. That wasn't quite that long, but all of our ranting about yarn. And we will see you next time.
Stay cozy out there.
Bye.